Well, welcome.
Hello, hello.
I'm
How's it going,
excited for
Joe?
this. I'm excited. I'm super excited. I've been holding these and
Oh, really?
yeah, I've been patient. I think I may have dabbled in one just because I had to. But as
Yay.
you can see, the other three are unopened. So I'm going to prep those.
Okay.
Um, and I don't know what made me go to the Cashmere 126 proof as to why I opened that one. But
Okay.
I should have started with the lowest proof, which I believe is the Solstice, but I'm gonna prep those while
Yes.
we're chatting. So,
Sure,
um,
absolutely. I would have thought you'd tried them by now, but
I was trying
that's great
to,
restraint.
yeah, I was trying to have some restraint,
Okay.
because I wanted, a fresh crack in the experience when we
Uh-huh.
talk, right? I
Okay.
didn't want to have any preconceived
Hmm.
notions of, of what I'm tasting. So,
Okay. No
again,
worries.
thank you. Welcome, Wendy.
Thank you, Joe. Finally, right? I think again, after 4 years, like I feel bad, like to everybody who have missed all these years. It just was not possible. And I'm so happy we can finally sit down and just kind of have like a quick chin wag and talk and just kind of catch up
Absolutely.
on things.
I mean, your journey, is amazing to hear. And how do we get here, right? Archer Elin, like,
Archer Eland.
how did we get here?
Oh, lots of prayer, I'll tell you that. Lots of prayer and a tight, tight village, I'll tell you that much.
Okay.
It depends on where you want me to start, and I can go ahead and tell you exactly, how we ended up
So
landing.
your history in whiskey.
Mhm.
How did you get into whiskey? What made you gravitate towards whiskey? Or was this the first spirit for you?
No, it wasn't. I never drank whiskey up until 30s, maybe. Yeah, my early
Okay.
30s.
Okay.
I really didn't drink that much, to be honest with you. I mean, during nursing school with my friends, because of the hell that we were going through, our poison of choice, I remember with my sister's best friend, we would get, is it Parrot Bay? Pineapple rum.
Mm. Oh wow. Parrot
We
Bay.
get Parrot Bay pineapple rum and mix it with pineapple juice or mango juice. And that was our go-to, and then I won't lie to you, I stumbled into whiskey. It was an accident. I never set to do that, nothing. I was actually on my way to become, a DNP and do crazy things in the cardiovascular world, but I
Yeah.
stumbled upon this. So I decided to take a leap of faith and I was like, what would happen? And so, fast forward a couple of years and then, Archie Eland is born. And now I'm
Yeah.
at the point where I'm just kind of like, okay, if I could take a leap of faith and do all these things and accomplish all these amazing feats, what if I bid on myself and I put everything that I can into it and then some? Let's see what happens. And so this is kind of where we are. We're at that, base of the mountain and we're climbing. So that's kind of where we are right now.
And you're writing your story.
I'm writing my story. I'm writing a testament, just to blaze the way through for others and not necessarily like in how to make whiskey per se. I'm learning now it's also about that intrinsic personal development type of situation as well. There's a lot of things that I had to go through and looking back 2020, hindsight 2020 now, I'm like, okay, this is why it happened and this is why it had to be the way that it is. So that hopefully one day my story will help someone, inspire them in some shape or form, not necessarily in the whiskey world, but just, you know, holistically. So yeah.
Yeah. No, absolutely. And I think one of the things that we cannot overlook is the
Mhm.
fact that um, disproportionately, there are not many people that look like you that are doing what you do.
No, I can actually
And
count on one hand. Is if I miss someone, I'm sorry, but the people that come off the top of my head, Cameron George, he is the blender head of global advocacy for Sir Davis. There is Ebony Major. Ebony is now a blend. She is a blender. She came from Bullet, but she's a blender as well. And then there's Tracy Franklin. There's myself. There's Miss Victoria, Aunt Victoria to some.
uh-huh, uh-huh.
Um, and I think I'm probably missing some other people. Oh, you've got Brother Whiskey, you've got Abasola Whiskey. They are founders in their own right, and they have their own whiskey businesses that are freaking amazing.
Really?
Brother Whiskey is kind of cool because if I'm not wrong, Dion has a 95.5 wheat whiskey that he's doing, and it's pretty good. Like if you ever wanted like a ginger snickerdoodle cookie whiskey, his
Yeah.
stuff is fire. So there's a few of us. It's not that many. Not
So a
that
95.5 wheat, so I'm assuming the
many.
5 is malted barley?
More than likely.
Okay.
More than
I
likely.
think
But
I
his
have
wheat
something from
whiskeys.
Patel, a wheat whiskey from Patel that's similar mash bill. Okay.
I think I have some because I bought his very first when he came out with Brother Whiskey, I was very happy for him. So I bought and there's OJ Lima.
Mm.
How can I forget
Taste,
him?
select,
He
repeat.
has
Yeah.
yeah, he has Kinfolk Trust. Have you if you ever want to
I gotta
buy
get it.
something?
I have to get it. So listen, Kimmy has been on me about getting a bottle. Um, what I have to decide on is which proof, right? The preferred proof
Get
or
125 prefer proof. I
okay,
think it's the one. Get the one that says 125. It's stupid. It's
okay,
so
okay.
good. But
Say
I
less.
got OJ as well. So there's not that many of us in this whole
Yeah.
situation. But if you wanted a flavored whiskey that's like really good and doesn't taste synthetic and gross, Red Hazel, TK Johnson. Her stuff is pretty
Mm,
good. It's
okay.
just and she's killing it. So there are not that many of us, but
No.
those are the ones that I
I
think
also
are
met New Dawn. I
New
met
Dawn
her a few
Distilling.
yes, I met her 2 years ago. She was in
Yeah.
Detroit, my hometown, for
Yeah.
the Black Spirits event. Are you familiar with the Black Spirits event?
Is that the one with there's a
I believe
gentleman, he's got his own e-commerce website for black owned brands. I can't remember his name, but I don't know if that's
Lazar.
the same one.
I believe Lazar put that event together, and I think
I'm not sure.
Pronghorn was involved in it.
Okay.
So, yes,
There
I
are
met
not
her
that many
there,
of
and it
us.
was awesome. It was awesome.
And then
Man,
I mean
this
if you go
smells
into vodka, you've
amazing.
got Black Mama Vodka. She's been around for a hot minute. And then you've got Jackie from Sorrel Liquor, Alice Cream. So as much as it's not whiskey, but it's an ancillary, but in whiskey, there are not that many of us. There's Greenwood Whiskey, Majestic. So yeah.
Mm. And then the gentleman on the East Coast. Um,
New England,
yes,
mhm,
yes. So
that's
again,
another one too.
there's not many to your
There's
point.
not that
So,
many.
um, that's awesome. I'm actually so I went through the first level, the certified bourbon steward. I
Okay.
had a conversation with Kimmy, and she says, "Hey, level up." So, my wife actually purchased for me for Christmas
Hmm.
the executive bourbon steward package. So,
Okay.
so I have the kit. I've been playing with the kit that they sent to the house, but I'm actually going to go in person in a few weeks to Kentucky on the 26th to
Okay.
complete the course. So I think that's the first step in my journey, you know.
Hmm.
So I'm looking forward to what comes of that, you know.
It's not that bad, and it's not a bad place to start. I've met some great people that are certified and some that
Yeah,
are great with
yeah.
executive. And then I've met the other half where I'm just like, oh my God.
I hear you.
But Moonshine University is an amazing start because they have some pretty cool programs that you can actually delve into. They have
Okay.
a blending one, they have a rum blending one, botanicals, whatever it is that you want to get into, you can do that. And I actually went through the Moonshine blending um, when 2026. I think I did it in 2023. So it wasn't too bad. It wasn't too bad at
And
all.
if I'm not mistaken, I also saw some clips of you hanging out with Nancy Fraley at ADI.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nancy's amazing. So I got to meet with her at the her blending seminar that she did. So a bunch of us in Columbus, Ohio. Little did I know they were going to Texas, and I was going to Texas as well. So we went to her blending class, and then I stay in touch with her whenever we can because we're all super duper busy. Her and Angela, they're great people, and so I come from that tutelage, and then I also come from the tutelage of Samuel Smelcher, who is the master blender, who used to be the master blender for MGP. So those are the people that taught me
Mm.
how to blend.
Oh
So
wow. Okay.
yeah, it's
I'm
not too
I'm
bad.
I'm so fascinated with blending. It's I got an infinity
Oh,
barrel 2 years ago, and I've been people say, "Well, an infinity barrel, you're just dumping stuff." I said, "No, I'm writing down everything that goes in there as
Mhm.
down to the milliliter,
Yeah.
of what I'm putting in there, right? So, trying to round it out, proof it
Mhm.
up, I'm having fun with it. So I've made like
Oh,
4 or
good.
5 batches and I let my friends try them. They're my guinea pigs. So,
Oh, that's
um,
good.
yeah, I'm just having fun. That's all.
Blending is not, a lot of people tend to say, oh, it's just a matter of like slapping barrels together. I promise you, it's not. Um, there's more that goes into it. You have to be in a position to understand the science of the barrel, to understand the science of the distillation. And for me,
Mm,
I think it's just because of my scientific background, I have to break everything down to a molecular level in order for me to understand it. So much so by the time everything comes together, and for example, if I'm able to catch a fault or something like that, and that's why Nancy Freire's class is amazing. You have to go because she has one cold nosing for faults. That's one I highly recommend that you do. But being able to understand those concepts and foundations will actually help you become a better blender. And I think also it's repetition in time because I've learned in my own journey, and I can only speak for myself. I'm now evolving my own techniques as to
mm.
how I blend, as to how it comes to being. You actually get to see it in the lineup in front of you as to how my journey has evolved, but it's now being translated into the products that you see in front of you.
So speaking of what's in front of me, so
Yeah,
tell me what I have here. I know that they're all rye.
they're all right.
Okay. I
Mm-hmm.
have the Solstice
Mm-hmm.
104 proof.
Yep.
I have Suede
Mm-hmm.
126 proof.
Mm-hmm.
I have the Aurora
Mm-hmm.
110 proof.
Mm-hmm.
And last but not least, I have the Cashmere, which
Yeah.
is 126 proof.
Yep.
And I misspoke. Suede is 126 proof also.
Oh no, you said it right in the first place.
Did I? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I had them arranged wrong. I guess
So
that's my
you would drink it
OCD kicking
as
in.
solstice, aurora, and then I always say do cashmere, then suede.
Okay, so we're gonna
Yeah.
switch these around.
Yep.
So I've poured this a couple minutes ago. I'm letting it open up a little
Yep.
bit. The nose is amazing. A lot of fruit on it.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Almost some citrus, which
Yeah.
surprises me. And this is the Solstice,
Mm-hmm.
104 proof. So I'm gonna take a quick swig, and maybe you can
Cheers.
tell me a
Well,
little
I
bit
have more
more.
syrup though. Cheers.
I do have my Saratoga water.
It's so good. Saratoga's so good.
It is. It definitely is. But I'm gonna you're taking me on a journey here.
Okay.
You know how your brain starts just going,
Yeah.
and it's really interesting how our senses work, and I'm trying to remember what that familiar note is that I'm tasting.
Mm-hmm.
I said some citrus. I'm definitely feeling some citrus, but I'm getting a little bit of pepper in there too, which
Yeah.
I wasn't expecting at that 104 proof point to pick up some pepper.
Mhm.
But it doesn't feel like the dark pepper.
Like a
It feels more like a white pepper.
white fine powder.
Yeah, yeah. And there's something else that I can't put my finger on.
Mm.
All right, let's talk about the notes.
Something that can always help is, when you have the flavor wheel, it's got different colors and
Yeah,
then it has all those components because sometimes I blend and I can see colors sometimes when I'm blending, and I'll talk about that when we get to Aurora. But usually when you find yourself, getting stuck, I highly recommend getting a flavor wheel book or a diagram. And if
and
you're
I
able
have
to
one. I just don't
recognize
have
that,
it right here.
yeah, it's fine. I mean, when you recognize it in your own spare time, it does
Yeah,
help you kind of decipher certain things. I will tell you that a little fun fact that I learned is that sometimes when I'm doing sensory evaluation, it doesn't necessarily mean Archer Eland, or I might be working on a client stuff or working on Middle West stuff. But if I detect, if you ever detect like a pithy, like a peach pith, how that tastes,
okay.
that is likened to bitter almonds. So for my frame of reference, anytime I get that pithy stone fruit type of flavor note, for me, that's like it tells me that it's a bitter almond that I'm actually dealing with. So yeah,
Hmm,
fun fact.
okay.
Yeah.
I like it. But yeah, that fruit is really nice.
Oh, good.
It's not too sweet. Um, it balances well. And then on the finish, it actually hangs out a little bit. It doesn't just drop off. So it's there, and I know that as we progress, it's probably the finish is probably going to get deeper and longer, and
It's gonna get interesting, I'll tell you that much. And it's been such a blessing and a fun journey to see how Archery Eland has been received by the public and the mass population because everybody's having a different experience with it. I've had people when they try certain ones and it stops them in their track and they go, "What the hell did I just taste?" And they get
yeah,
so discombobulated and they're like, "What just happened over here?" So
yeah.
it's been a lot of fun seeing that, translating what I had in my head and how it's interpreted by others.
So are you a rye girl? How do we get here?
Yeah, I'm a rye. Bourbon's
Okay,
too sweet for me.
okay,
It's too sweet, but I will drink it. I will drink it for sure, but my love is rye. It's
okay.
misunderstood. It's a difficult grain. It withstands the harshest of conditions, and that's the
Mm,
reason why I drawn such an affinity to it because I can kind of take on those traits because I can relate to those. So
absolutely,
just become a
absolutely.
rye person. So yeah,
I love how you said that. Uh, Rye is resilient, right?
it is.
It can thrive in places that other grains probably could not.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a story in itself. How did we come up with Archer Eland?
And I went through, God knows, I think I am much of a traditional analog person. I don't use computers that much. When I blend, I like to write stuff and I books
Okay.
on books and books. And I remember when I was trying to come up with the name, I didn't want it to be very masculine. I didn't want it to be a traditional type of name. I also wanted it to embody a plethora of facets, and so I started playing with it because I always had my mother in my mind when I was creating this and myself. And I was like, man, how do I put those things together? And, the Eland part was easy because of my mother's totem. And so I was able to take how my mother is addressed in her mother tongue and translate it to English. And so it comes through as the giant Eland. So I was like, oh, that's easy, Eland.
Wow.
And so Archer was the weird one because it was like, man, I want it to be disjunct, but at the same token, I want it to make sense. And so I didn't like Sagittarius, Sagittarii, and all this other stuff. And I was like, bow, and you start doing that words, salad wordsmithing type of thing. And I arrived at Archer. The Archer is that bow. You set your sight on something, and it's that target that you go for. And so
Mm,
it's kind of how I came about with it. And it's my way of it's the moniker to celebrate me of the things that I've done, things I've accomplished, and the things that are yet to come. But I
yes,
couldn't do that. I couldn't sit here and have this conversation with you without having to honor my mother. In my culture, the mother is she's sacred. And so you always have to hold her, in a high place in my culture, anyways. And so without my
absolutely,
mom, I wouldn't be here. I wouldn't be having this conversation with you. So it was only
absolutely,
right to do it that way.
absolutely.
Yeah.
That's an amazing story. All right, all right.
What
You're
you
gonna have
think of
someone. You're gonna
solstice?
you're gonna have someone cutting onions around here. So we're gonna,
Ah, no,
you know,
no,
I, I
solstice is,
I'm enjoying this solstice a lot. 104
oh, good.
proof. It's a
Mhm.
good place to hang out. It's a great starting place for this flight, as we're gonna say, right?
Yeah,
So we're gonna take this trip. We're gonna take this journey here, and you're gonna talk me through it as my captain
absolutely. I
uh,
mean, you,
on
you
this
tell me where to
journey.
go and I'll tell you, whatever you'd like to know.
So Aurora's coming next. So let's go
Yeah,
back to solstice for a second. So
sure.
solstice,
Mhm.
obviously, I know what solstice means,
Mhm.
but why is it special to you?
Oh man, solstice was special to me because, at the time when I started creating the blends, I work from end flavor profile, then I have to work my way backwards. And so solstice will forever be an everyday sipper. Rye is so beautiful in a citrus connotation, and I love that. And so I've always said it that I'll be consistent but inconsistent with the flavor profile. So, I'm designing the blends as vintages. So we had 2025 is what we have now. And at the time, I was already going through my own journey of, okay, how do I find myself again after, the previous chapter. And so solstice came about because it's warmth, it's hope, right? So I always wanted to hold on to that. And so when I did solstice, I always said I wanted it to be easy. I wanted it to be introductory, but I'm still pushing the envelope a little bit just because, in the stores you see a rye that's introductory. It's going to come in at 80 to 90 proof-ish, low 90s. And I just wanted to push it a little bit because I do believe that sometimes if you're able to push the envelope on proof, you're able to get a completely different flavor nuance that you didn't get
Hmm.
before at 80, 90, and so on. I didn't necessarily want it to ever be soft. I wanted you to understand the character and structure behind it, and that's why I designed it the way that I did. So Solstice for me, it's chapter one of me
Yeah.
discovering myself
Yeah.
as a blender. So it's hope and warmth and all those good things.
I love the fact that you said chapter one, right? Because
Yes,
obviously
chapter one.
we've had conversations about my journey and how
Yeah.
I'll be embarking on chapter one fairly
Yeah. No.
soon within my within my academic journey. I this
Yeah.
is it. Obviously, this is it. After this, a terminal degree is something that I never envisioned I would ever
Mhm.
have in life. Honestly, I never thought that I would have 3 degrees, but here I am. So,
Hey, we're
um,
all there, right? We have 3, 4, 5 degrees, and we keep telling
yeah,
ourselves, never again, no more. And then
yeah,
you look back and you go, dang, I have God knows how many. So it's a
yeah.
good feat. It's an incredible accomplishment. So it's good.
I think that we never stop learning until we die. We
Learning
shouldn't, at
is
least.
dynamic. It's never linear. It's never static. It's never stagnant. It's
Every
always
day
always.
we should learn something that we didn't know the day
Mhm.
before, no matter how minute it may be. That's just my
Yeah,
personal
I agree.
take on that. So, all right, Aurora,
Problem child.
110 proof. I'm loving the names, so I'm very curious. How do we get to Aurora?
Aurora represents that next phase that I go into where um I'm now battling myself and I'm also battling external circumstances. And what I mean by that is at that point in time, one has to be delusional in order for you to pursue the things that you desire. I believe that. Because if you conform to what society says, then you're always going to stay in your comfort zone. You're never going to step outside of that. And so when I designed Aurora, now biblically speaking, there's this story. I think is it Moses or Aaron? They're on the mountain and they're fighting the angel. It's kind of the same nuance. I'm fighting within myself, going, "What the hell am I doing?
Yeah,
Do I continue to do this and create a brand, or do I find another place that I can find home?" And to be honest with you, I just couldn't foresee myself pouring that amount of energy, kinetic energy, into something else. And so Aurora comes about that way. And it was difficult because she kept me up at night. There were times I would be sleeping in my office. And there was a time that I had a blending problem. I was trying to figure it out. I couldn't because the barrels were not talking. And so I was like, man, I can't go back to square one, but I'm not so sure where to go. And so I would have those types of contradicting conflicts, if you will. And so sometimes I wake up 2, 3 in the morning on my office floor, write my notes. I
yeah,
still have the book till this day. And she was very difficult in the sense that when I initially created this particular collection, I did my blends in partial blending. And partial blending is a little difficult because what you're basically saying is out of this barrel, I'll take 10%, out of that barrel, I'll take 15%, out of that barrel, I'll take 30. But when you take that ratio and then you convert it to a commercial scale, it's nothing.
mm,
And so when that happened, I designed Aurora, and when I tasted it, it was perfect. And I could see green, purple, and brown around this particular product. And I remember one day I stepped outside. We have a communal restaurant like area here, and our financial controller came by and she's like, "What's going on?" I was like, "Dude, listen, Kathy, I don't know what to name this thing, but all I can see are these greens, purples, and browns." And she goes, "Oh, that's easy. Name it Aurora, the Northern Lights." So I was like, "Oh, crap, that's kind of cool." And when I think about it now, it's almost like that Northern Star, the Northern
yeah,
way of movement. And I didn't realize it up until then. Aurora was designed for the traditional rye drinker. I never created my products to be translated into a bourbon rye lover, whatever.
hmm
No.
hmm
I I just feel like, and it's not a negative connotation. I just don't feel like I have an added thing to add to the bourbon world. I wanted to create space in a space that's already difficult to penetrate anyway, anyhow, right? Because rye is very difficult to
Absolutely.
distill, and for me, I found that rye is very difficult to blend to the way that you're tasting it right now. And
Yeah.
so when she's like Aurora, and I was like, oh, okay. And that's what we named her, is Aurora. At 110 proof, I was thinking about if you were to translate this into the world of bourbon, you think of your cask strength product, right? Because
Hmm.
in the world of bourbon, it's kind of cool. You have your introductory, then you have a cask strength, and then you may have another iteration, if that. But in the rye world, if you go into the store, you'll see a one-off. You're lucky if you see two, three. So that was my, premise behind Aurora. And then she became more complicated and difficult when we went to blending because I started out with the cost strength suede and cashmere. That was easy because you don't have to prove it down. However, I had to be very careful when I was doing homogenization with suede and cashmere. So we started with them first because they can kind of go quickly. And
Mm.
then after that, that's when I sat down and I did solstice. And I was like, because I knew it was the easier one and it was going to be okay. Aurora was my last one to blend because when we did the calculations, and again, in the world of blending, there's a lot of math that you kind of have to take into consideration. And when we did the calculations, the yield was very low. It was like 40 cases, if that. And we had to go back, I think, two, three times over to kind of recreate those calculations to get the appropriate yield that we needed. And, I just checked today and I'm almost out of Aurora. So I have to go back and create Cashmere and Aurora because I'm almost out.
It has
So
some
that's kind of
interesting
how it's
hang time on
going.
it. I'll tell you that.
Yeah.
It's got some legs. It's definitely got some legs.
Yeah.
It's like it's not budging.
It's just there.
It's just there. Like
It's just
I'm
there.
I'm
It
sitting there
doesn't
looking at
move.
it going, "All right, run, run away," but
Yeah. Yeah.
it's moving very slowly. That's awesome. And you know what's funny is
Yeah.
I was not a rye drinker. I
Oh,
started
what?
out I started
Oh,
out as a Scotch drinker, and I transitioned
okay.
from Scotch. Once I found bourbon, I said, "You know what? There's something about these charred barrels that
Yeah.
I like."
Okay.
Right? I like the new white oak, the charred barrels, but
Yeah.
I moved into ryes, and I think
Mhm.
one of the first ryes that I actually uh, dived into was the Old Forester barrel proof rye,
Okay. Oh my God.
and
Yeah.
go big or go home, right?
Yep.
And I'm like, wow, this packs a punch. This is rye. When I thought about the 95.5 mash bill,
Hmm.
right? I'm like, okay, how did I end up going from a 74-21 for mash bill
Yeah.
to 95.5, right? And I'll tell you, I like rise. And then there's the double oak rise, which just
Hmm.
I love, right? I think I'm a true fan of double oaked whiskey.
Okay. Is it
Um,
because of the nuances of what those phenols are doing to the distillate? Like, you're getting different types of flavor profiles, or what is
yeah,
it
I think
for
it's the
you?
transfer. I think it's the
Okay.
transfer, right? Going from the initial cast to the secondary and how it just I feel like it just adds another level,
Hmm.
right, to the profile. Um, and I'll tell you, Peerless Double Oak Rye I like better than the Peerless Double Oak Bourbon.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So
John's doing his thing. Go, JJ. That's awesome.
yeah, so I'm like, all right, I'm a rye guy, and I never thought I would have been, a rye guy. So I'm assuming that these are 95.5
95% rye, 5% malted rye. Uh,
malted
there is
rye.
no other grain in there. So
So
we're
these are
playing.
rye
This is
ryes.
rye. I'm not putting in malted barley or anything like that in this particular collection. It was important that it stayed 100% rye.
So what do you think that the 5% malted rye does for you?
Oh man, it does a plethora of things. So, in solstice, it actually adds a foundation so that I'm able to amplify the citrus notes. And again, it goes back to when we do sensory evaluation and I'm building my blending components, there's a way you do it. And so the malted rye is a structure. It gives me a great
Mm.
foundation. In Aurora, you're able to get it because you've got the chicory and the coffee and the chocolate coming through, right? And then you have all the other nuances. Um, in Cashmere, when we get there, it's the first time I'm ever able to kind of detect sweet notes. And that malted rye actually helps carry that through along with suede as well. So I love the malted rye as opposed to malted barley.
This I'll tell you. So Aurora is distinctly different from Solstice on the nose. I don't know why, but I'm feeling like more chocolate or
Yeah,
something along those lines. Am I in the right neighborhood?
you are. And for me, the barrels, I started my business with only 20 barrels. There's some people that start with less, but in order for us to come up with the collection that we did, initially I started with 6 because I remember talking to my director of partnerships, Amy, and I was like, I need like 82 barrels. And she's like, honey, no, we're starting with 6 and then we'll go from there.
Yeah.
And when I did the final calculation, I was like, we need to up the ante. So I started my business with 20 barrels, but
Okay.
my barrels are different char levels. So with the malted
Uh,
rye and you have different char levels, it gives you these beautiful nuances that come through.
See, now we're talking. So, all right.
Yeah.
So for me, when I think of char, number
Okay.
4 is something that just, sticks
Hmm.
in my head, right?
Yeah.
You find something that you like, and you're like, okay, I love that deep char. I just
Hmm.
love what it does and how, the distillate just latches onto it, right?
Hmm.
And so I get it.
I
What's your
mean,
favorite char level? I'm curious.
it depends. I won't lie
Okay.
to you. It depends. So I love all 5 because 5 is custom depending on the cooperage
Uh-huh.
that you work with. However, you then have to take into consideration, like, what distillate are you working with? What char level are you doing? What's the style of the barrel? Because there's some barrels that have like these
Yeah, for
bruising
sure.
tanks. I think it's ISC that does that. Then you have to take into consideration maturation in terms of the orientation of your warehouse or your rick house. Is it
Yeah.
east to west? And then you have to take into consideration temperature, humidity, and all these things. All these things come together to actually create the barrels that you guys did, everybody gets to
Yeah.
taste at different distilleries. And then for us as blenders, we have these beautiful offerings where we're able to kind of create like what you can see in the lineup of what you have. So for me, I love all levels of chart. It depends on
Yeah.
what I'm trying to create.
So you raised a good point for me
Hmm.
when I think about what you just said about maturation,
Yeah.
placement of the barrels. So you're aging in the Midwest, if I'm not mistaken, right?
Yeah. In Ohio. Hmm.
Okay, so you're in Columbus.
Columbus.
So I'm in Detroit, Michigan area. So we're in the same climate,
Hmm.
right? So obviously that's distinctly different from Kentucky,
Yes.
from Alabama,
Hmm.
from Colorado, from Georgia,
Hmm.
even out east, right?
Yeah.
So I think there's something special about the Midwest that a lot of people aren't familiar with, right?
Hmm.
We can experience all 4 seasons, and we jokingly
Hmm.
say this, in Detroit, we can experience all 4 seasons in the same week.
That.
Literally last week, I
Yes.
had 50-degree weather with no snow on the ground.
Yes. I
And
agree.
now I have 6 inches of snow sitting out on my patio.
Yeah.
So that's Michigan for you, right?
Yeah.
If you don't like the weather, stick around. It's going to change.
It changes tomorrow.
It,
And it's
it
interesting that
does.
you say that because I do think it's very important for consumers to understand that not one whiskey is the same, especially because considering terroir. I'll give you a great example. Milam and Green just came up with Provisions. Provisions was done in Texas and it was also done in Tennessee and Kentucky, if I'm not wrong. But you're able to see the progression of the terroir, taking place. And in my opinion, it's been one of the best bourbons I've tried that are low proof. It's 80 proof, but you get the nuances in such a beautiful way. Ohio is sitting on a history, I believe, of glaciers and tectonic plates, right? And then we also have a different topography. You have rolling hills. You have on the eastern side, as we go toward, Pennsylvania, West Virginia, it starts to get hilly, right? You get the rolling hills. It's ups and downs. If you go South Ohio, it's the same thing because that now you're going into West Virginia. If you go west, it's a little flat because now we're going into Indiana, Kansas, Missouri, that sort of thing. So it's fascinating to kind of appreciate the topography and geography of the state because it then gives you not only the idea about not only weather patterns, depending on where your warehouse is sitting, depending on the season fluctuations, you have to take those things into consideration. If I take you to Texas, it's
Mhm.
hot as God knows what. You're going to
Yeah,
get something completely different because
absolutely.
the topography is completely different. So it's always important, I feel, if you feel like you want to get into the whiskey world and you want to become a professional reviewer or whatever, try whiskeys from different places.
Absolutely.
Just because it
I
gives
totally
you a
agree with you.
length of knowledge, you know?
Totally agree with you. I
Because I remember a lot of people come to me, and again, I'm not going to be biased on my product alone, but they were like, "Well, I like such, 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 such. What do you recommend?" And I'm just giving a tip for all those people that are content creators, people that want to come into the industry in some shape or form, understand the fact that whiskey is not the same.
mm,
And you have to know those products and the environment that they're coming from and the stories behind them because they are also exuding the agricultural perspective of that state. Whether they're getting their grain from someplace else, those barrels might be maturing in their home state. So it's always important to understand those things so that you can be a better advocate or a crusader for whatever that product is going to be. So
amen
I
to
think it's
that.
important to understand those things.
Amen to that.
Yeah.
I I totally agree. One of the most unique experiences I've had to date,
Mhm.
with, you know, whiskeys from different regions has been my Alabama experience with Detling. I
Yeah.
mean, it's the wildest thing. It's 6 grains,
Mhm.
and I jokingly say they're cooking down there, right?
Oh,
Because
yeah.
they're producing whiskey in a matter of, 36, 40,
Mhm.
50, 59 months that takes others, 6, 7, 8, 9 years to produce, but it's because of that Alabama heat.
Yeah, Detling, and I don't know if K-Luke is Alabama, but K-Luke as well.
Yeah.
Detling a little bit more because it's more Alabama based. It's grain to gloss, if you will, and they're
Yes.
doing phenomenal things as well.
Yeah.
I understand that, heat time can speed up certain processes. You go to Colorado, they're all the way up Mile High,
Yep.
right? So it's much thinner, more concentrated. But some of the things that are coming out of there are phenomenal. You got Talnua, you got 291,
Yeah.
Stranahan's. There's so many that are coming out there, but it's completely different. Just because,
It's funny
again,
that you
it's the weather.
mention Stranahan's because
Mhm.
I have never been uh, a single malt guy, right?
Okay.
I'm trying to dabble more into the single malts.
Mhm.
I've tried a couple, but I hear Stranahan's is one of those things, either you're gonna love it or you're gonna hate it, and I know that you know, the West Side, they're really producing a lot of single malt over there. That's their thing out in
I would
Colorado and
I would recommend this. I would divide the country like into forts, if you will. So I would say like and if you want to get into like single malts, Stranahan's, do Westland, do VA, Virginia, Courage and Conviction. Amanda Beckwith is phenomenal. Do Whiskey Delbach, Arizona. Uh,
really? Okay.
yeah, Whiskey Delbach, their single malt, yes. Westland, yes. VA, Virginia Distillery Courage and Conviction, yes. Stranahan's, yes. The reason why I say that again is it's barley, it's the grain, but because of where you taking it or getting it from, you get to see exactly what that story is telling for that
Mm,
particular region in the United States.
okay.
It's a different story, but it's fascinating and it's eye-opening and humbling at the same time. So I highly recommend get different American single malts with different parts of the country and try them out.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So speaking of grains coming from different parts of the country, I don't know if you can disclose this or not, but your rye, is it Ohio rye?
Ohio rye.
Okay.
Mhm.
All right.
Ohio rye.
Awesome. Awesome. Awesome.
There's an incredible relationship that Middle West has with Ohio farmers here, so we're able to procure the best grains possible in order to create the amazing distillate, whether it's contract distillation or the Middle West portfolio. So It's also fun the fact that you're able to, see your farmer drive in. You're like, oh, hey, Derek, how's it going?
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
sort of thing. And he'll be like, so how did that thing,
Yeah.
go when you distilled this particular recipe? Did it work well? And, you know, I won't even lie. Sometimes when the grain trucks come through, I'll go from time to time and I'll taste the grain, I'll eat it, and I'll,
Yeah.
do certain tests and things like that. Because again, as a blender, you have to understand these things. Like there's certain things that you have to look for to ensure that, the product that you have in front of you is quality. So yeah, I'll go and do some testing. I'll even eat it and check it out because I also want to experience the grain integrity from before you even mill it till the time it gets into the
Yeah.
barrel to the time you're actually tasting it.
So I also understand that rye was big out on the East Coast, Pennsylvania and New York
Yes.
also. I've just learned about this whole New York rye.
Empire, right?
Yeah.
There's
I
a
just got hip
documentary
to it.
on
So,
Amazon, Prime Amazon, if I'm not wrong. Check it out. I'll
okay.
send it to you. Yeah.
Okay. Cool. Hey, listen, I'm
Empire,
a
right?
student here. I'm here to learn. Again, rye is, newer for me, right? Bourbon,
Yeah.
I've studied bourbon through and through.
Mhm.
But now that I am developing a passion for rye, and a part of that is thanks to you. This
Oh, yeah.
Aurora, by the way, is amazing at 110 proof. I must tell you, so far the Aurora is winning for me.
You can
I'm
have
loving this
her.
Aurora.
She stressed me the hell out, so I cut my hair off.
So I'm hoping as we go through this journey, she stressed you out. I'm hoping that
Yeah,
Cashmere brought you a little bit more joy.
it did. And don't get me wrong, Aurora when I created it, I mean, it was a lot of frustration, but again, it's like I told you, you're at the base of the mountain. Now we're climbing. So think of climbing a mountain. That's Aurora because I was being challenged in so many ways with it. By the time we get to Kashmir, it's almost like you hit base camp one, and you're like, you know what? Okay, I think I am understanding. I'm catching my footing, and I now know how to move efficiently and flow. So, without further ado, I'm going to let you experience Kashmir. But Kashmir is almost like you hit base one, base one level at that camp, at that mountain summit that you're climbing.
I love it. You're taking me on a journey, and
Yeah.
you're my guide here on
Yeah,
this journey.
absolutely. I mean, it's a journey, but like I said, this collection is very sentimental to me because this is me coming out to the world as a blender, as a brand owner, of rye and a lover of rye. So it's a very near and dear project to me, just because.
Is this mint? Am I getting mint?
What else are you doing?
What is this? It greeted me as soon as the glass reached my face, but it's something that's familiar though. So I don't know if you know this or not, but I have a culinary background.
Nice. That's awesome.
So
Well,
out so
yeah,
outside of all the other stuff,
because we've been
working in
trying to
law
get some
enforcement.
barbecue.
I
Yeah.
know, right? So outside of working in law enforcement and, working in the government and doing all those things for years as a public servant and first responder,
Yeah.
my passion has been food. So obviously the Bourbon Pitmaster was birthed out of, my love for smoked meats. Uh, so I'm the co-owner of Smoky Joe Barbecue.
Yep.
We started that back in 2017.
Hmm.
2018, we purchased our first food truck. We now have two. And I got into it accidentally. In 2016, I entered the largest amateur rib competition in the state of Michigan.
Okay.
It was a sanctioned Kansas City Barbecue Society cook-off, and I won. So
Okay.
I was the dark horse in that race, right? So I won that competition, and the first thing that people did after I won is they came up and said, "Hey, where are you located?" I'm like, I don't know, but we're
Well,
gonna get back to you on
we'll
that.
figure it out.
We'll figure it out."
Yeah.
So that's what we did, and I'm grateful that we went the route of the food truck versus brick and mortar,
Hmm.
because who knew that COVID would happen just a few years later?
Yeah, it was crazy. Of the
And I have
people.
so many colleagues who literally lost their life savings with their brick and mortar establishments. In the state of Michigan, the governor shut down all restaurants.
Oh,
So for
yeah.
me, we flourished during COVID because there were so many weddings that were booked in 2020 that people had paid for,
Hmm.
and they could not have them at indoor venues.
Venues.
So we got calls. Hey, you guys cater weddings from your food truck? Sure. So guess what? We started catering weddings. So we literally changed the dynamic. And I say we, meaning the food truck industry as a whole in the state of
Hmm.
Michigan, because we were literally serving wedding reception dinners out of
A
paper
food truck.
products.
Yeah.
People were standing in long lines, 100 guests, 200 guests standing in lines to get their food,
Hmm.
but it worked.
It did. And you know, it's interesting that you say that because it can translate to the whiskey world, right? Because you have to be innovative, but you kind of have to step outside of it first to see the big picture. And then once you see the big picture, then you can narrow in and say, okay, where can it work? But once you get there, do it, but you got to figure it out. And that's the same thing that you guys did. And, you know,
Yeah, we had to figure it out. I mean, and
yeah,
we did well. I mean, for the first two, 2020, 2021, nothing changed, right? For the
yeah,
first couple of years. So, once folks were able to go back indoors, they still weren't comfortable.
okay.
There was still the whole social engagement piece. There
Hmm.
was still the distancing and all those things. So, a lot of people elected to have their um, weddings, retirement parties, and things outdoors, especially in the summertime.
Yeah, it works
So
perfect.
we would pull up in neighborhoods and cater open houses, graduation parties, and things from the food truck. So it did very well for us, right? And we kind of kept that going, and we've built up a reputation for doing those type of events. So I'm grateful, for the opportunity. Not grateful for the pandemic. That was a terrible experience, but
That was something. Yeah.
yeah, it was bad. But I'm grateful for the highs and lows of those experiences. So
Those experiences are life lessons. And, you know, it's funny, I was talking to a friend of mine, and I'm like, you have to stop looking at life and going, oh, why me per se, right? We have to kind of understand why the steps ordered the way that they are because they are designed to give us tools to be better versions of ourselves for what is to come. I didn't know why I was going through all of that stuff that I went through, but now looking back, I can look back and go, oh, okay, this is what happened, you know? So it's life lessons. It's just kind of a mindset switch that we have to do, but it's a hard thing, but it can be done.
absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely. So let's talk about this cashmere. How did you come up with the name cashmere?
Everybody has that reaction when they taste cashmere. It's funny. Um,
Okay, so I'm not alone in this
no,
experience because I'm going like, whoa.
what
Um,
happened?
so me being a culinary person, right now, this makes me put on my culinary hat.
Yeah.
Now, I'm not a baker,
Okay.
but for some reason, cashmere takes me inside of a bakery.
Yes.
Okay, it takes me inside of a bakery, and I'm just trying to put together what I'm experiencing here. But it takes me into a bakery. There's one particular note. Uh, uh,
Like when you think of this particular note, is there a memory that comes back to you?
it
It
is.
could be from memory, like your grandmother's favorite pie that she made, or
It is a
a
memory
favorite
that's
meal.
that's yeah, that's why I'm saying a bakery. It takes me to a bakery
Yeah,
because there's some type of and of course everyone says baking spice, right? No, 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 no. This is much more complicated than just baking spice. This is something, you know, of course I'm thinking nutmeg, but I feel like it's more complicated than that. It could be some nutmeg, but I feel like hold on a second.
sure.
And it's not something when I think of baking that's just a
Hmm.
common apple pie. This is more along the lines of some type of bread
Okay.
or, some kind of bread,
Okay.
right? And of course, you could think it could be rye bread, right?
Hmm.
But it's like, what is that? Ah, the suspense. All right, talk to me, Wendy.
So, Actually, before I do that, I'll tell you that Solstice and Aurora are actually blends of 4 and 7 year barrels done. So that's why you have structure, complexity, and all these things going on with it. When you get to cashmere, cashmere is the very first time for me that I'm able to taste a sweet rye, right? So it
Yeah,
reminds me of vanilla, like like custard. I grew up eating
yeah.
custard. It reminded me like the mouth feel was buttery and thick and it enveloped your the mouth. And then you get these toasted marshmallows, like you take marshmallow fluff and you torch it a little bit like a creme brulee. That's what I got
Mm,
from cashmere. The only time I've ever had those sweet type of notes in a rye was when I had Todd Leopold's three chamber rye, which was the 2021 edition, bottled in bond. And that's actually what suckered me into the world of rye. And then he did a collaboration with Dickel, and that had a hold on me. So cashmere is the first time I get to play with the nuances of what is sweet and rye because everybody thinks rye is
yeah.
spicy, it's minty, it's tree-like. No, cashmere is what it is. And
Are you familiar with bread pudding?
yeah, mhm,
So my grandmother used to make bread pudding. This puts me in the mindset of bread pudding.
yeah, you get the doughiness, almost like as if it's a wheat whiskey coming in, but there's no wheat. That's the crazy thing about it. It's just
And it has the longest finish so far.
yeah,
It has the longest finish. Like, I mean, it's still, what's funny? It didn't hit me here or here like most whiskey does, right? It's hanging out right here.
yeah,
It's
and then it
it's
just goes yeah,
it's right there. It's hanging out right there, just like,
yeah.
all right, I'm not going anywhere. So,
Mhm.
um, marshmallows.
Toasted marshmallows, creme brulee. Just think of
You
that.
know what's funny? Marshmallows is something that my grandmother used to put on her sweet potatoes, the candy
Oh yeah,
yams.
candied yams.
Candy yams. She would put the marshmallows on there and put it back in the oven, and they would get this nice little char to them, right? And they would get gooey and all
That's
that. So,
exactly cashmere. So the reason why I named it that was because it was all these beautiful, luxurious, and buttery profiles that you get because it rolls, right? You don't get astringency. The mouthfeel is just fluid. I was like, man, this is luxurious. It's like butter, it's like cashmere. And so that's how I came up with the name. So that's kind of how it came to be. And that's the one I'm about to sell up, actually. I don't have much left of it, to be honest. So once it's gone, I'll have to recreate it again, but it'll be something
wow.
completely different.
So the fat kid in me says one of my favorite desserts is the
Mhm.
Kentucky bourbon, not bourbon, the Kentucky butter cake, that gooey butter cake.
Gooey butter
Are
cake.
you familiar with it? The
That's
Kentucky,
my guilty
oh my
pleasure.
god.
I love gooey butter
Listen,
cake.
where at the top has that little crunch to it,
Mhm.
and then when you hit it with the spoon or the fork, it just
Yeah.
gets soft and velvety.
Have you ever had Jenny's gooey butter cake ice cream?
No.
Okay, so you have to go get Jenny's gooey butter cake ice cream, and then you just put like a little dollop of cashmere in there, and then you just go to town.
Okay, say less.
So good.
So now, suede.
Suede.
I feel like this is gonna be like a an R&B song, you know, one of those 80s or 90s R&B songs, Suede, 126 proof.
Yeah. Keep
Let's talk
sweat.
about it. I know, right? I know, right?
So funny story. Cashmere and suede was supposed to be one product. But
Oh,
when I put them together, it didn't work. It didn't work. I tried marrying them for a week, 2 weeks. They just didn't work. So I had to go back to back to the drawing board and start all over again. And when I did cashmere, I took what was left over and I just combined it, and it was a happy accident. And I came with suede.
so suede surprisingly
Hmm.
gives me a little bit more on the nose,
Okay.
right? Now, I don't know if you know this or not. If you watched any of my content, you know that I am a avid cigar
Cigar.
smoker.
Hmm.
Literally, I have
Yeah.
a Lancero right here. Um, I'm gonna finish that when we're done. But for some reason, So one of the things that I do with my cigars is I sniff them,
Okay.
right? Because I like the smell of tobacco, and I feel like this reminds me of tobacco.
Hmm.
So that's why I said it gives me more of that, you know
There's
what I
a little,
mean?
yeah.
Yeah, yeah. But at the same time, I'm still getting that sweetness like that,
Hmm.
brown sugar or
Hmm.
caramel, cocoa, which is really interesting that you get these things out of rye, especially you're telling me this is a 95 rye, 5 malted rye. How am I getting
100% rye.
caramel and cocoa and all these things out of that?
100% rye.
We're going in.
Cheers.
That kind of punched me in the face, but I like it. It punched me in the face and I took it like, Mike Tyson says, you don't have a plan until you get punched in the mouth, right?
Oh, okay.
That's what he says, you know?
Gotcha.
So now my plan is, all right, I got punched in the face and I think I want to get punched again. I That tobacco is still there for me,
Uh-huh.
but those baking spices,
They're in the background.
they're in the background, but they're there.
Hmm.
They're there. But that leathery tobacco type, feel is what's up front, right? Um, I don't even know why I'm saying leather, but
No, you're right. You know why? When I created this, it was actually called suede and leather, and then we had to shorten it
oh,
because it just didn't look good on the label. It just looked wonky. So it was supposed to be called suede and leather. So we shortened it. My designer shortened it. She's like, no, forget this. She's like, just name it suede. And I was like, okay, cool. So it is suede and leather.
are you a coffee drinker?
I am. That's what keeps me alive and going. That's like my treat after a blending session. Like people think that we drink a lot of whiskey. Honestly, when I'm done working, I go and
Yeah.
get coffee or a salsa water because I have a horrible addiction to self sparkling water. So
Did your coffee uh vice have any influence on us at all?
no, not this
Okay.
particular one. So suede was an actual accent. It was what was left over from the cashmere that didn't work. So those were the outlayer barrels, and I just put that. And I was like, one day I was like, let's try. Let's see what's the worst could happen. And we did it, and uh, there it was at cask strength, and we're like, I'm done. I'm done.
What I like about this is, right, when people think of rye, there's
Hmm.
two type of ryes they think of. They think of just a normal rye, and then they think
Hmm.
of that whole, minty,
Hmm.
herbally rye, and then there's that other rye. They think of the earthy,
Hmm.
grassy rye,
Herbaceous.
right?
So yeah.
Um, I don't get that from this. None of these actually. I don't get that
Okay.
earthy, rye, but this I do get that minty side of it, right?
Hmm.
Um, which is interesting because I've had another rye from Ohio, from Cleveland
Okay.
specifically. That was an interesting rye from some of your peers down there at River Roots,
They have
and
incredible single barrels.
yeah,
Incredible.
they're doing some good things down there too. But
That's how a single barrel model should be.
yeah, I hear
That's
you.
how they're doing it they're killing it. They're doing very, very well. Yeah.
Yeah,
That's how it
and
should
the and I actually uh I interviewed the owner last year.
be.
Really
Okay.
nice guy. Was it Ryan? I can't remember, but
There's four of them.
I
I
know I
think there's
know
Ryan, Michael, Chef
yeah,
Simon.
It was
There's
Ryan. Yeah,
Mhm.
so I know Michael Simon as a partner as well, but I know it was
Mhm.
Ryan, and it was an awesome, interview because I received a bottle
Oh, good.
from a group out of Florida.
Okay.
Shelf Clear Society sent me a bottle to review, and
Oh.
it was a really good like 13-year rye, so it had some age on it, but nonetheless, we're here. Archer Elan, loving it. Middle West,
Hmm.
hell, they're doing pumpernickel. Who does that?
Yeah, that's Ryan's crazy mind. So that's his thing. He does dark pumpernickel rye, and it's actually beautiful. It exudes all these beautiful, like nutty, fruity, floral notes, depending on the
Yeah.
age statement that you work with. But mine is not dark pumpernickel rye. I'm actually completely different from Mill West dark pumpernickel rye. But that suede reminded me of, so I grew up in Zimbabwe. We had one of the largest tobacco floors in Africa. And so as kids, some of my friends, their parents had farms. So on weekends, we would go to the tobacco auction floor because they had to deliver tobacco. So suede reminds me of that from when you see the leaves coming in and they're green and fresh. Some are sweet, some are dried, and you get all
Wow.
these smoky notes. It was one of my most favorite, nostalgic memories that I have. And some of our elders back home, they take snuff. I don't know if they have that here, but it's kind of
Oh,
like
they
powdered
they
down
do.
tobacco and go.
Oh, yeah.
So our elders would do that. So when I created suede, it reminded me not only of a tobacco auction floor, it reminded me of like imagine being in a library that has leather, that old school type thing. So
Yeah.
those were the nuances that came, but they were on accidents. And unfortunately, it was a happy accident. I cannot recreate that again per se. That's why suede is going away. Once it sells out, that's it. It's a collector's dream. You have it. And then
Okay.
something else would come in its stead. But you brought up a very interesting thing about age. And I wanted to exude and then show these are all a combination of 4 and 7 year old rise. Sometimes you don't necessarily have to have an extended age statement, but this is my way of showing and highlighting different age statements in different blending techniques and proof points to show you that you can actually enjoy rye whiskey. It doesn't have to be 15, 20 years old.
Yeah.
It just
Yeah.
has to be done right. And this is what I created out of that. But it's my journey, it's my story in this particular collection. So Suede is me hitting the ground running, going, okay, I'm ready to go.
I love it. I mean, I love the journey that you've taken me on tonight, telling a little bit about your story. You talked a little bit about, your origin, where you're
Mhm,
from, your your reverence for your mother, and I honor
mhm.
that. Um, but there's one thing I wanted to ask you that I learned
Sure.
recently is that you are a medical professional
Yes.
in a field that's not very common.
No, not really.
So, how did that come about? Like, how did you get into what is your specialty in the medical industry? Let's talk about that.
Uh, General cardiovascular medicine. So I would treat patients that had heart failures. I know this sounds so morbid, but I loved heart attacks because they're fascinating. Because when a heart attack happens, a lot of people don't quite understand what's going on. It's actually it could be caused by a blockage on some of the arteries, depending on where it's sitting on the heart. So it affects different parts of the heart. It affects how the function happens, the electricity of the heart, and that sort of thing. And I was always fascinated by that. I've done cardiovascular stress testing. I've done it all. I've taken care of patients that have, they don't have the capability of having a left ventricle to pump. So they have these very special, amazing machines called LVADs, left ventricular assistive devices. I took care of patients like that. So my spectrum crosses 13 years, but it's varied, and I loved it. It was such a great journey. It was a great experience. So it's something I'll never forget.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's awesome.
Yeah. So I
That's
ended up
awesome.
becoming a nurse practitioner specializing in cardiovascular medicine. But it was short lived. It was like a cup of coffee because this
Yeah,
happened that I stumbled into this and I was like, you know what? I still have my license. I can always go back. And I have a whole bunch of letters behind my name. I can go back. It's
yeah.
not a big deal. So yeah.
No, that's awesome. I joke with one of our family friends. I remember when she was going through school and first
Yeah.
becoming an RN, then she went on to become a critical care,
Oh yeah.
RN. Then she went on to become a nurse and anesthesiologist. I don't know. I'm sure I didn't pronounce that
CRNA.
right. Yeah,
Nurse Anita.
CRNA. And then she went on, to she just finished her DNP.
God bless her.
So,
Yeah.
she works in the OR, but she's
Mhm.
got it all, right? She's done it
Yeah.
all. She's been in this industry dying probably 20 years now, but
Mhm.
she's seen it all, so I get it. She has all those letters behind her name. We call her Doctor because she actually went back
Yeah.
after her DNP to get a PhD. I'm like, what's
Hell
wrong
no.
with you? Like, what's wrong with you?
No.
Like, that's like
No.
me going back for a law degree after I finished my doctorate, right?
No,
When I
I'm
get my
good.
doctorate, listen, I'm done. I'm
I have
done.
enough
Even though
letters behind my
even
name.
though law school was a thing for me in the past, I
Mhm.
didn't want to be a lawyer. Not so much a lawyer. I wanted to be a judge, but that's another story. We'll talk about that
You know, I
later.
actually wanted to be a corporate attorney in mergers and
Really?
acquisitions. Yeah, my one of my degrees is finance. So I actually
Oh,
wanted to become a corporate attorney just to do mergers and acquisitions. I found it fascinating, but 2008 happened, so it's like, oh, I want to become a cardiothoracic
yeah.
surgeon. They're like, yeah, it's going to cost about $500,000. I was like, never mind.
Trust me, I remember
I
2008. That was the
was like,
crash.
forget it.
That was the economic
The crash.
crash.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
And I was in
Yeah.
finance. So I actually did a pivot from finance because I was going to be, an attorney for mergers and acquisitions. And then I stopped doing finance. And then cardiothoracic is what I wanted to do next. And they were like, yeah, this is how much it costs. And found an avenue where I could still do it, but it wasn't as a surgeon, which is fine. It worked out perfect. I ended up loving what I was doing. So yeah. And then I
And
worked
and
frontline
again, you
for
don't have
COVID.
to be a surgeon. You don't have to be a surgeon to make an impact. I think I told you this before. My best friend is a
Mhm,
physician assistant.
mhm.
He started out in kinesiology, became a physician assistant. He's worked in orthopedics for probably 15 years or more.
Yeah.
And he recently went back to school to get his doctorate in medical science. So now he wants to get transition from bedside care into more of the administrative side of things, right?
It's needed. It's sorely needed just because it's such a fractured system. I could talk about it
Yeah,
for days on end, but yeah, I mean, it's interesting the pivots that we take, but that's one of mine is, from wanting to be JD to now having a whole bunch of letters behind my name to now
yeah.
owning a brand, and previous to that I worked for one of the hottest brands in whiskey history, but yeah, here we are.
And I think your time at that other brand has shaped you into who you are today.
It did
I
tremendously.
do. I
I learned
do.
a lot. I
I
learned a
believe
lot.
that.
I was able to create things and learn how to be innovative and, learn how to kind of step back and look at the big picture before I could go in for the kill. And so that taught me a lot. And you saw that. I was literally living on a plane for the last like 4 years.
Absolutely. Absolutely. You've been on the go. Even when I went down to that brand to do picks and you were
Yeah.
transitioning at that time, and I'm like, all right, it's cool, but it's not the same, right? You're not there.
It
So
was it was a great experience.
absolutely.
It
Absolutely.
was a wonderful time prior to the acquisition. It was great. We all learned so much, and yes, a lot of it has helped shape who I am today. But the transition period as well was to me much more critical just because it's kind of like a do or die at that point in time, right? You get a juxtaposition. You kind of go, which way are you going to go? And what are you going to do? And so during that transition, this is where I kind of had to come to terms with myself and go, you know what? I can do this,
Yeah.
and I can put myself out there and I'm going to bet on myself and do things as best as I can. Again, this is bigger than me. This is not about me. As much as I am paying homage to my mother, but this is also testament and hope for other people that are coming behind me.
Absolutely.
And
Absolutely.
so this is what this is about. And so it's kind of funny. This is chapter one where you see Archie Elan coming out, but you see my story like transitioning from being a national brand ambassador to becoming a brand owner to becoming a blender. And it's in everything that you have tried. It's not a
Absolutely.
gimmicky thing. It's an actual story. It's the foundation of a legacy that my prayer is to build that it lasts you and my lifetime.
I get
So
it.
that's
As
kind of
as
where
some
it
of my
came from.
friends would say, you're a bridge builder,
Yeah, yeah.
so I totally get it. I love it. I love the story. I
Thank
love the
you.
brand. I'm wishing you much success
I
in the next
appreciate
level. Hopefully, the next level won't give you as much agony as Solstice and Aurora did.
it.
Hopefully, it's more of the cashmere and suede.
No, it's
Uh,
not. It's funny you say that. It's become much more uh like eye-opening, like, oh my God, we can do this. So we actually have one, two, we have three projects right now.
okay.
One of them is going to it's going to be a big deal.
So I got a
Um,
question for you.
yeah.
Are there single barrel picks in the future. Okay.
Um, so here's
I
my
thought
reasoning.
I had to ask. So,
No, and people have been hitting me up with that. So here's my thing. Is for me, I don't see it doesn't make sense for my brand.
okay.
Because I am blending and I want to continue to tell that story. I
Okay.
want people to understand that, everything is y- single barrels, they're here. There's nothing wrong with them. I just don't think I can, again, add anything to that. However, let's just say if someone said, I really am interested and I have a really great relationship with them because I'm not just doing it for every Tom, Dick, and Harry, I can sit and go, hey, how about we do a custom blend?
Mm.
It's a one and done, and I already have one in the pipeline. It'll be released in July. Can't tell you where it's going, but I pitched it that way, and I was like, "How about we do a custom blend? It's specific
So
to
you're
you.
saying that there may be a bourbon pitmaster custom blend in the future?
It could happen.
Okay.
It
All
could
right.
happen where you can have like your custom blends and you pair it with whatever's on your menu and people are
Yeah.
able to purchase that particular product. But I just
Yeah.
don't think and again, remember this is a cumbersome thing because it takes a lot of time, a lot of energy. But I want to showcase and highlight the experience. I want someone to have
Absolutely.
fun with it. You don't have to necessarily do it on the level that I'm doing it, but I want it to be an experience. I want it to be special because it's something that's synonymous to that particular client. So July will be the first time I do a custom blend for someone, and we're working on it right now, and I'm very excited, and I'm
Awesome.
hoping everybody likes it.
So I'll tell you
But
this,
yeah.
rye for me pairs well with one of our number one sellers on
Hmm.
the Smokey Joe menu, which is our jerk chicken. So my wife is West Indian, she's Jamaican. So we do a lot of
Please,
jerk chicken. And I'll have to I'll have to vacuum seal some stuff and send it down to Columbus for you.
please,
So
we will devour
uh
that.
yeah, we'll have to look at how we can collaborate. So again, Wendy, I am so grateful for you sending me
Absolutely.
this care package. I'm grateful for this opportunity. I'm grateful for your time.
Oh, thank you.
Most
Likewise.
importantly, because I know that your time is important. Thank you for sharing that with me. Thank you for sharing your experiences, your journey,
Absolutely.
and I wish you nothing but success in the future.
Thank
Um,
you.
and if I
Thank
could be of any assistance, please let me know.
Oh
So
yeah, I'll be hitting you up. I'll be like, so what are we doing? We're coming to Michigan, so come
let's
on,
do it.
let's
Let's
figure
do it.
something
Let's
out.
do
But
it.
that's the roadmap. The prayer right now is, we are hopefully hoping to be in about 7 to 10 states this year. I'm not trying to rush anything. I'm really trying to be very purposeful and intentional with my time and
Yeah.
where we're going. And our stuff is not just going to be like big. It's going to be small, quality, good. Just because you kind of have to read the room a little bit. So that's what we're
So are
doing.
you in stores in Toledo? Because I can get to Toledo in about 30 minutes.
Yeah, Toledo in that region. I think I listed Joseph's. If I'm not wrong, I
Okay.
listed
Say
Joseph's.
less. I'm very familiar with Joseph.
If not, you
So
may have to go to Cleveland area, and I have a Giant Eagle in Solon. I have Cap and Corks in North
okay.
Olmsted and Westlake,
Okay.
which is not far. You just kind of have to go instead of 75, you may need to
Yeah,
come
yeah.
71.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I'll be making my way down there. I will be in Cincinnati
Hmm.
in July.
Okay.
So I'm a member of the greatest Black Greek letter organization known to man,
Which
uh,
one?
o- Omega Sci-Fi Fraternity Incorporated.
My cousin's Alpha Phi Alpha. That's the
I'm
best.
sorry. I'm sorry.
Alpha Phi Alpha.
So I'll be there
Okay.
in July and August. I'm
Okay.
actually looking at doing a barrel pick with Creola.
I love that.
So I just talked to her day before yesterday. So I'm looking at doing a barrel pick for her with her rather for our conclave. So more to come on that. So I'll hit you up, let you know. I'll be down that way.
If you
So
do the barrel pick, God willing, if I have time and I'm in the city area, because I'm not
okay,
far from Cincy, I'll just come and say hello and hang out and
cool,
stuff like that. And then I got
cool,
to jet back. But
cool.
I'm so glad I was able to speak with you. And I apologize. I know it's taken us years to get this done,
It's all
but
good.
I'm so
I
glad you got
appreciate
to
you.
enjoy Archer Eland.
I am ecstatic about this experience. So again, thank you, and
Absolutely.
we'll talk very soon.
Absolutely. Anytime.
Cheers.
Cheers to you, Joe. Thank you so much.